Welcome everybody to another great episode of Real Life Matters. Of course, I'm your host, DBoss. I'm just encouraging everybody to like all the stuff that people see, go out, research them, look at the guests that come on. And also I'm on Caribvision, which is in 28 different countries, including the UK. If you haven't seen any of the episodes, you can look on Bell 5, channel 658. And you also can go to their website at caribvision.com.org, and you can go see and subscribe to the channels of their streaming channel. I've been telling a lot of people here for the last couple of weeks that laughing is healthy, and I encourage everybody to import that in a part of their regimen every day, because it keeps your blood pressure down. It keeps all your body, heals the body, and makes you feel good. It keeps your abs toned, all of that. So I'm just encourage everybody to laugh every day. If you don't have anybody to laugh with, then you can just find somebody that you can find the laughter with, or just look at something funny that you know that you'll laugh at. So I encourage that. All right. So today I got a real special guest for her. We're going to find out who is the lady behind, the woman, or not the lady, you can be a lady woman, the woman behind this film called Kofa. And she's here today, and she's part of Sola Studios. So her name is, and I hope I don't mess it up, everybody. So it's Chibie Louis-Okoye. And no further ado, here she is. Did I say it?
Hi.
I did it. Chibie Louis-Okoye.
Okoye.
Okoye. Oh, geez.
Yes.
One syllable.
Yes. It's COLO Studios. COLO Studios. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, it's okay. COLO Studios. But
Yes.
You are the women behind Kofa. So I'm here at Real Life Matters. Our family likes to know, like, what is your cultural background and where you come from?
Yes, I am Nigerian Canadian. So my background is Nigerian, West Africa, for those who don't know. Yes.
All right. So you can kudos to everybody out there that's in Nigeria. Okay,
Yes.
so you are a producer and a film. So what made you want to become a producer?
I believe it is taking the power to tell certain stories that are crafted in such a way that it comes from its heritage, and to be able to inspire and impact the world through intellectualism. So taking the world, recreating it, and being able to get people talking about certain topics that they may not necessarily be talking about, and just being able to facilitate that whole process. So facilitate the process for all the creatives involved, all the business people involved. I sit on the creative and business side, and that's really what producing is about, and being able to empower and facilitate that whole process. That's why I've chosen to be a producer, to be at the helm of the whole thing, and be able to usher and push these stories out to the world and what happens after the story. Because for everyone who comes together and write a story, they may just write a story, or they may direct it, or they may edit it, or they may create sound around it, and they may leave the production after a certain point. But as a producer, you're really there shaping and forming from the very beginning of when you pick up an IP or option an IP and get a story written. You're there to nurture that whole process and carry it up until the point that people see it on screens and even afterwards. So I love that entire process. I love to facilitate and empower artists and creatives. And I love to be at the helm of telling African stories, because that's what I do at COLO Studios, be able to tell stories that are linked to Africa. And I've chosen this path, and hopefully I am able to continue to conquer and accomplish my goals.
All right. So is anybody in your family doing what you've been doing, or you just said, I'm going to be the trailblazer for this?
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting you ask that, because there's a saying in African countries and West African countries that you're either a professional doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or you're a disgrace to the family. So you have to kind of have a path that is very professional. They didn't quite look at these kinds of roles as very professional. So I am the only one. I do not necessarily have, I mean, I have my siblings, you know, they are creative in their own right, but I don't exactly have parents who come from that world. My parents were more in business, and it was out of necessity that they got into business, and, you know, they raised us and everything. And some of us had to move out of the country and study and stay in the various countries that we live in. But yeah, you could call me the trailblazer of the family as far as producing goes, but I have their support and I have their love in what I do.
All right. So tell us about the film that you just did.
Yes, so Kofa is a psychological thriller. It's written and directed by Judy Dada, a Nigerian producer and director and writer. And it's a psychological thriller that's about 8 people who wake up in a room and they don't have any memories of themselves. They have no clothes on, they have no phones, and they don't even know why they're in the room. And while they're in there, a man keeps coming into the room and taking them out one after the other. And whenever he comes back in, he's more bloodied than when he went out. So they're scared, they're afraid for their life. There's a lot of commotion, there's a lot of confusion. They're trying to piece together their memories with hopes that when they can remember how they got into the room or why they're in the room, they can perhaps overpower this man and get out of the room. So it's at the point where they finally are able to get out that it dawns on them what they were doing in the room. And the film is really inspired by very, very sensitive topics that's prevalent in Nigeria and some other countries that are in Western Africa and Southern Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa as a whole. You know, kidnappings have become quite rampant, and you know, we talk about that, but it's a very interesting story arc, and any more I can say about it will be a giveaway, so I don't want to ruin it for those who haven't seen it, because we're still in the process of getting it into streamers and getting into your homes. So I'll stop there. And it's very riveting. It's a race against time. It keeps you at the edge of your seats. It's a lot of going through intellectually, going through and connecting the dots in your head, because a lot of things are revealed towards the end. So very interesting story, and very well executed by the actors as well.
So is this how long is the film? Is it long?
So the film it's a feature length film, and it is 114 minutes long. So just somewhere in between what you would get for typical feature length films.
All right. And who cast the characters? Did you do that, or they had other people?
So we had other people in Nigeria as well as the director. So this film is a Nigerian and Canadian co-pro. Although we don't have an official co-production treaty, but because we are Canadians who were at the creative helm of it and the business helm of it, it became a co-pro. So we got line producers in Nigeria. We went over, because it was shot all on location. And so we were able to get that kind of help as far as the casting goes. They knew the right people to play the role, and also the right people who had the gravitas as far as being known on screen and being known in theaters go. But we went really with the strongest actors, because it's a very character-driven story.
Wow. So I guess the selection was tough, because everybody wanted to be in the movie.
Yeah, you could say that it was tough. But again, you know, a lot of these actors are booked and working. So it was also tough for us to come up with a schedule. It was also tough for us to negotiate all of their deals and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, it was tough for it on both ends, but it really was about who were the stronger characters, who were the stronger actors who could play this role. And interestingly enough, in the African Magic Viewers' Choice Award that just concluded this weekend, 2 of our actors from the film were nominated for the Best Actor in a Drama. His name is Daniel Etim Effiong, and also a young lady, her name is Jenna Castell. She's from Ghana, Nigeria, and she was nominated for the Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series. So we had those 2 recognitions, to a testament to their work and a testament to the effort that they put into the film.
Was your film featured at TIFF or no?
No, we have applied to get into TIFF for this year, and let's see how it goes. It's been quite a journey. It's been a few years. Yes, fingers crossed. Thank you very much, DBoss. Fingers crossed. It's been quite a journey. It's very self-funded. It's self-promoted. We do have sales agent working for us for Africa. However, we're hoping that we can get into other festivals. We did get into the African International Film Festival, which is called AFRIF, which ended in November 2022, and that's the festival where Black Panther: Wakanda Forever premiered in Africa. And in that festival, we ended up winning the Best Feature Film. We ended up winning Best Screenplay and Best Actor, as well as other nominations. So it's been very well received in the festival it's been to. And my goal as a producer, again, is to continue to push it out into other festivals to make sure that other parts of the world get a taste of what we've produced and what we've created from Nigeria and Canada.
All right. So how do you get your funding for your stuff? Do you promote, use your own? I know. That's always a tough question, right?
This was a tough question. This particular film had to happen at the time that it happened. Based on what the director had written and the time that they were in their career. It was all self-funded. I funded a huge chunk of the film, as well as other investors from his end who came into the film. In Canada, we do have a lot of funding streams, but we didn't go through there. It can be quite difficult to get through. But now I am currently in Toronto, and I'm on ground and very well versed, learning a lot more about the Canadian landscape. And hopefully my next couple of productions and my next few productions going forward would be as a result of funding coming from Canada and private investors as well. So, and I just wanted to mention again that this film is funded through Creaternity Inc. That's also a company that I own. And it's a film production company that is the company that produced Kofa. And Kofa means the door in Nigeria, because there's a metaphor, a door that keeps opening, a gateway, a pathway, basically, from when they were in the room to when they got out into the world. So just interesting dynamics and trivia that I thought I could throw in there.
Okay. So what about, so what's the next thing you're working on? What's on next for you?
Right now, I am working on a television series. It is called The Third Coming, and it's going to be coming out of COLO Studios. And The Third Coming is an African futuristic sci-fi drama. So it's a story that really tries to ask the question and tries to answer the question, what happens when the imperialists and colonialists try to come to Africa again for the third time in this day and age? And I remember when I mentioned this, because I've just come back from Cannes Film Festival. When I mentioned it at my panel where I was speaking, there was such a gasp in the room. And I was like, yes, it's so possible. And the story tries to answer that question and tries to bring that question to the forefront. What are we doing about it? What could we do about it? What would we do about it? And how would imperialists try to come the third time? So it's a story about African spirituality and politics meets technology. So it's an African futuristic sci-fi drama. I'm very excited about it. Yes, and it is an early development. I'm still creating the story and creating the world for it. And it would most likely be a co-production between Nigeria and South Africa. Hopefully, I'm just sowing the seeds out there in Canada and perhaps the UK. So I'm looking at these specific countries for what they can bring into the production. So that is what's keeping me very busy now. And I'm also researching a lot of topics that I want to work on for a documentary as well.
Okay. So when you're going through your thought process of what you want to do, like, where do you do that? Do you do that in your house, driving down the street, sitting on a stoop?
Honestly, everything you've just mentioned and then some. I'm currently a participant of Black Women Film Canada, and we are a network. We support each other. We try to put our projects on the go. We try to work on moving our projects dial and moving it to the next phase. So when we come together, we nurture one another. We get resources to work on our projects. So it could be a conversation, and I get some gems and I'm able to go tied back to the story. It could be even because I was part of the Oya Media Group. I was part of the Real World Screen Institute. So in all of these places, I've been able to nurture what I'm trying to work on. They are all great resources to me and for me, and that I give back to them, to the other producers that are within these programs. And when I'm by myself at night, I work literally from when the sun rises till way after the sun sets, and I'm here, putting in the hours and pounding out the stories. And I do have people who I do accountability checks with. So I run my stories with them. I put it down on paper. I journal. So sometimes these processes coming through journaling, I run them through mentors. I have wonderful mentors on the continent of Africa as well as here in Canada. I run them through people doing business affairs. And I also think of the business side, how feasible is this story? Can I bring it out, or vice versa? So there is quite a process. There's no one answer. Creativity happens everywhere. But sometimes I carve out time on my calendar and I say, this is the time I'm going to sit down and get my creative juices flowing and get some pen to paper or get some work done. So it really could be any of those stimulations that could cause to move forward.
If you're flying to Africa, I guess you could do a lot there. So.
Yes. When I'm going, depends on where I'm going to in Africa, but Africa is a big, boisterous, creative hub. Everybody there just gives you life, and they just speak and put life into your project. You get so much inspiration from anywhere you're going. I was at Cannes, and I was at Afro Cannes and the African Pavilion, and just seeing other African producers, from South Africa. I met two wonderful women, Nikki and Serena from Botswana, and they're just young, smart women pushing their stories forward. And that's just creativity flowing everywhere. And that is Africa for you. So anywhere, literally, I could get the inspiration. I could feel the creative passion, and I could get to work there. So yeah, that's where that whole creativity comes.
Well, it's always great when you go home, right? And you start.
It is. And you're inspired by what they're doing. The AMVCA's African Magic Viewers Choice Award was just this past weekend, and it was beautiful. Again, beautiful fashion, beautiful people talking about their projects, getting awards for their projects. And it's a way to get motivated to do so much better the next year and the year after, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I like to hear that. And I hope that you get into bigger and other venues and other stuff too with other people, because there's a lot of people in the Caribbean that are doing things also for the African films. And they're also open to putting our films, or even from Canada here, in their roster. So, sometimes it's good to get that too, and you get a lot more exposure and working with a lot of different people.
Yes, that is very true. There was a session that was arranged for us at the Cannes Film Festival, which, like I said, I just returned from, and there was kind of a collaborative, what do you call it, a salon put together for Canadian producers to meet a lot of producers from the Caribbean and South America and so on. And that's another avenue for me to network more with them, get to know them, and work with them. So all those relationships, I will be carrying them forward. So yeah, thanks a lot for mentioning that.
All right. So do you have any shout outs to give to people?
I do. Actually, I have a shout out to give out to everybody who worked tirelessly on Kofa in Nigeria, from all of the actors to everybody behind the stage to the creative team, and even my support system here in Canada. I do have a shout out to give out to my mom and to my sisters and my brothers, and and a shout out to other producers, emerging producers. It's a very tough world. Keep working, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep working, keep listening to your intuition, and the best is yet to come. So yeah.
All right. And if people want to keep up with all your new movies and your latest updates, where can they find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram as the Chibie, TheChibie. Excuse me. Yeah.
All right. And that's only, you're only on Instagram. You don't have a website or anything?
Yeah, I do have a website. My website, is COLOstudiosinc.com. So COLO studiosinc.com.
All right. I'm just going to play this one moment. So while you can get your little stuff together, hold on.
Thank you. right. Thank you.
We're back.
Well, that was that.
The other people that had the African film Trinidad and Tobago, they're one of the people that you can also reach out to them also to do stuff. And they're in Trinidad and Tobago, and the girl there is Asha. Okay. Asha Lovelace. So you never know. I'm gonna let her know about you too. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on, Chibie, and this, telling everybody what you do, what you're doing in the, for African communities, telling the African stories. And even though we're in Canada here, it's a very good eye-opening effect for you to do that. So
thank you.
I appreciate that. So just stick around for a moment once I just close out to let you know after the show. All right. So I do want to thank the viewers tonight for tuning in here with Chibie and the woman behind Kofa, which is called Open Doors. And I just hope that everybody here will just keep going on with her journey. Let her see, let her feel the love, reach out to her. You got a lot in the big Nigerian community here in Canada. So they all need to reach out and support and help. And if it's not even from Nigeria, just, support her. All right. So I do want to thank the viewers for tuning in here tonight. So good night and bye for now.